Alright everyone, welcome back to Rayron After Dark. Got another manga book here for you on the Icy bookshelf. I've got volume 2 of the Blue Period series. Go ahead and look on the back here and I'll read the excerpt from the back. Alright, so art has changed the course of Yatora's once dull life, and now he's aiming for Japan's most competitive art school. With entrance exams a year away, he'll need to expand his limit eye for art, and quickly. He turns to new peers and the master of envision pieces only he can produce, and soon drives into his first competition, the same one where his art club role model nearly scored last place. Among geniuses and lifelong art kids, does Yatora even stand a chance? Alright, so this is the continuation of our main character of Yatori. Oh man, Yatora. Sorry, some of these names are just a struggle for me. Yaguchi. So this particular individual, if you recall from Volume One, he was the one that was really smart in all of his academics and could go basically anywhere that he wanted to. But he wanted really to challenge himself into the career field of being an artist. Now, this particular book continues on with that, where we see the continued struggle um, issues he has with trying to adapt the form of doing all the styles of art. I'm not gonna lie, this book is definitely one of those series that it was a struggle for me to get through. It took me about a week to get through this, just because um, there is, with the main character, you still follow him, but it's like that's really all you follow. And I was really struggling to find the main plot. I mean, it seemed kind of dull a little bit because, again, he's just going to class, he's learning different art styles. You see him hanging out with his friends a little bit, and there was really nothing. There's like no really love interest. There's no antagonist for like the first, I don't know, 3/4 of the book. The last quarter of the book, we finally got our main antagonist, but I wish that was presented at the very beginning of this book, because I almost put this book away and almost didn't want to finish it. But which leads me to something else. So this is kind of the first time that I found a manga book that I'm not really that interested in, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give each series a chance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a 3 volume rule. Whereas if I'm find myself struggling with a manga series that I really am not enjoying or not liking, then what I'll do is I'll review the first 3 volumes of that series, and then I'll probably end it there to focus on other manga books that have, lengthy volumes in their particular series. But by the end of this book, it finally had me coming into the story. So we have our main antagonist, Yatsuki Takahashi, and he basically confronted our main character and said that, you had everything that you want. You're so smart, but yet you had to choose art. You had to choose the one thing that our main antagonist enjoyed, and now he's finding himself competing against, the smartest. And as a result of that, we start to see the competitive nature of our main character. And so there's something that's inside him. It feels like an internal power comes out. And I think that's where this term blue period kind of comes into play. Some sort of, I don't want to say magic, but it's more of inspiration and instincts that drove our main character, Yatora, to actually look inside himself to actually try to compete and against all of the other students and try to be good in these particular schools. So we finally start to see the drive and the reasoning why this main character really wants to progress with painting, not only because of self-interest, but now he wants to prove that he's the best. And it was kind of interesting because by the time I finished reading this book, our main character kind of went from the smarty brainiac to being the overly competitive, wanting to be better than this other person, than our antagonist, Yatsuki. Well, hi, kitten. How you doing? But yeah, but my my criticism of this is that I wish we got this conflict in the plot way earlier. Like volume 1 I can understand, okay, let's introduce our main character, maybe introduce some side characters, friends and so forth. And volume 2 I wish we got our main antagonist earlier, because I like I said, I almost didn't finish reading this book because it was just, to me it was just kind of stale and vague, and it wasn't, for the lack of a better phrase, if I were to use a food metaphor, it felt very bland. It wasn't seasoned, it wasn't cooked. And it wasn't until I finally reached the end of this book that it started to come through with the story of our main character. But again, it is definitely another good book. If you're interested in just finding a manga that you want to follow a character learning a particular trait or skill, especially when it comes to the art, this book does a great job on it. You can tell that the author is very knowledgeable in all the different types of art that are out there, from pencil drawing to oil paintings to acrylic painting. The author definitely did the research to, um, basically teach us if we were the main character in trying to um, do artwork and painting and so forth. And it's definitely good when it comes to that respect. But I need a little bit more. I need a reason to stay attached to this character, because about halfway through it, I kind of just faded a little bit. It was a story that is like, okay, I saw this all through volume 1, and halfway through this volume, it's like I need a little bit more now. We need to spice up the story a little bit. And yeah, it wasn't until the last chapter of this volume that we finally started to see our main character find inspiration. And it's like, I wish we could have seen that a little bit earlier, maybe even at the end of volume 1, to teach that lesson that when there's other people who are good in your particular skill trait, that you got to do better against yourself, that you need to put in the effort, put in the time, put in the practice to ultimately enhance your skills. And I think that's what this volume 2 is trying to showcase a little bit. It definitely goes more on the dark end a little bit with our main character, because it gets to the point where he's becoming obsessive with his work, and I'm curious to see where that story progression is going to go, because now we have this smart brainy student, and now we're starting to see him get obsessed into the artwork, that he wants to be better than our antagonist, who has basically confronted him and put him on the spot. So it's great to see that now we're starting to get some conflict, that our main character, he's not going to be good in everything that he does, because now he's got to compete against someone with similar skill levels. So, but yeah, that's pretty much everything in this volume. So again, I wish that we had our antagonist earlier to really help me get through this book. But yeah, it's definitely not my type of story, but I'm hoping that volume 3 will enhance the antagonist a little bit, that we can start to see our main character, who I don't want to label him as, I think it's called a Gary Sue for the male characters who are absolutely overpowered and know everything, do everything good and so forth. But it finally showed that he's got some competition, and that other people, this one particular antagonist, calls him out on it. So, but we'll see. We'll see what volume 3. I'm gonna read volume 3 when it comes out. I'm not sure if it's out yet. I have to do some more research. But I will definitely read volume 3, and that will be the point where I will determine if it's good enough that I want to continue on reading, or if it's still going on its weird path of just following one individual and nothing happens, essentially. So, but we'll see how the story goes. But yeah, as I said, I'll give volume 3 a chance, and if it hooks me in, then I'll continue reading on. If not, then I'll do a 3 and done, and I'll punch out after that. You guys will have a good snapshot of what this series is about, and if it's for you, then you can continue on reading all the follow-on volumes after that. But with that, guys, that is my quick snapshot of Blue Period. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.